Hello and welcome to this week's HBC Kids Talk. My name is Heather and it's great to be with you today. So today we are carrying on our series looking at 10 rules for life. And this week we are looking at our second rule, which is no idols. Now, before we have a think about what that is all about, I have a 60-second challenge for you. So I'd like you to get a pen and a piece of paper and in 60 seconds draw a picture of someone who is really special to you. Are you ready? Are you steady? Go! How did you get on? Did you manage to draw your picture? I wonder who you chose. Could the rest of your family tell who it was? Well, we'll be thinking about images in just a moment. But over the next few weeks, we are also thinking about rules. Now, can you think of any examples of rules that you follow? Maybe they might be rules at home or rules at school or perhaps rules that you know that the government set for the whole country. In our house, we have a rule that you have to ask permission to get down from the dinner table after meals. And at school, my kids have to put up their hand if they want to answer a question. And I know that when I go to the shops, I mustn't take anything without paying for it because that's stealing. These are all examples of rules, and we all follow rules every day of our lives. And in the Old Testament, God gave Moses 10 commandments or rules to help the people know how to live well. These are God's rules, and they're found in Exodus chapter 20. And in verse 4, we find the second rule, and it says this: "You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth below, or beneath the waters. You shall not bow down to them or worship them." Now, what is an image? Well, an image could be a photograph. This is a photograph of me and my husband Phil when we got married. Or an image could be a painting. This is a painting my friend Simon drew of Superman. An image can also be a model of something. And this is my daughter's Supergirl model. So we all see images all around us. And when we're talking about worshipping no idols, this is what we mean. It's an image that people worship and follow. So what's God trying to tell us when he says we shouldn't worship an image? Well, God wants us to worship him for who he is. Can we see God? No. God is invisible. So if we try to make an image, a picture of God to worship, we'd be making him something less than he really is. And we need to worship God for who he is, not for something else. There's a great story about this in Exodus chapter 32 that will help you understand more what God means. Maybe you can look it up together after this talk. But in summary, God's people were getting really fed up one day of not being able to see God with their eyes, like all the other nations around them. They had gods who they could see, they could go to and bow down to and worship. So they asked Aaron, he was one of their leaders, to make them a god that they could see. So Aaron asked them to bring him all their jewellery, lots and lots of gold. And he melted it down and he made it into a big golden calf. The people were so pleased to have a god they could see. They danced around and they had a yummy, yummy feast, and they began to bow down and worship the statue. But then Moses showed up and he said, "What have you done?" He asked. "The true God himself has been looking after you. Why have you made yourselves a pretend god out of your own gold?" And so Moses crushed the golden calf. Then Moses reminded the people of God's second rule, that they shouldn't make an image of God to worship, because that isn't who God is. God is who he is. He's awesome and he's invisible and cannot be made into something that we can see or we can touch. And we don't want to make him anything less than he really is. So, how should we worship God then? Well, in Colossians chapter 1, verse 15, it says this: Christ, that's Jesus, is the visible image of the invisible God. He existed before anything and was created and is supreme over all creation. When we struggle to know what God is like and how to worship him, we need to look for Jesus. He is God in human form, and he shows us how to live a life of worship to God. And over the next few weeks, we're going to look at the rest of God's rules as we look at how we can live lives of worship to God, following God in the way that he designed us to. So what's that second rule? No idols.